Oh, and here comes Susan. Yay. Um, so this goes really back to some early wisdom I learned from the cleaning industry. My husband and I had restoration cleaning companies. And what was really, really interesting is we were doing extraordinary things of restoring like showers that had just like a half an inch of soap scum on them, and 1910 fireplaces that were up in Queen Anne that had needed to be restored. We were doing this deep restoration work, and everybody was always wanting to know what is the secret sauce, because we were doing things that they weren't doing with their normal highly toxic chemicals, overthinking complex systems, and we were doing really extraordinary work with such a simple system. And the number one question I was asked is, what is your secret sauce? What is that product you're using that is going to change everything? What can I buy that will do it? And we were over and over and over again, it's not a secret sauce. There's no secret to it. It's a system. It's a system of removing residue. It's just a system. And it was so incredibly simple. It's wax on, wax off, and that 90% of what they were restoring in a house could have been prevented, that it really didn't have to even have gotten there. Like, if you've got soap scum in your shower, that is totally preventable. You never have to have soap scum in your shower the rest of your life. And that is like one of the most freeing things you'll ever have, is never have to go in there with all these chemicals and stuff. And so when I'm talking about this, when we're talking about houses and there's big projects, for me, it's like thinking about what is the simplest, mildest means of doing it. And it's all about the prevention. It's all about the simple things we do every day. And that's what prevents it from building up. And it's the exact same thing in cleaning or clutter clearing. It's building these nourishing practices. It's simplifying our lives down, that they're not really complex. There's a great article. I posted it in our community clutter clearing Facebook group, and it's from Brad Stuhlberg, which I absolutely love his work on productivity and reducing burnout. But this morning, I was already going to talk about chopping wood and carrying water today. And then I saw this article, and I'm like, I just wanted to share a couple things. And it's about not being so complex. It's like, so earlier in the week, I was studying different things of clutter, and there's probably a million different ways to unclutter, but there's like 9 basic strategies of like cleaning out the whole house, one room at a time, taking one thing out, finding whether it's joy. I mean, everybody's got their thing. And it's that, for me, is the secret sauce. We're always looking for the secret wisdom of how we're going to get our houses clean and simplified. And what is that secret sauce? What is the book? What is the magic guru out there that's going to fix us? And I'm telling you, it does not exist. It is all about listening to our heart and soul and chopping wood and carrying water. That is really the essence of this. It's not about how many books you read and how smart you become about clutter. It is about waking up in the morning, putting your dishes away, walking in the door, being mindful of how you set things down. It is wiping out your shower. It is becoming present. It is learning to listen to your heart and soul and reduce the things that weigh down on your spirit. It is so simple. So this is what Brad said. And he's talking about to stop hiding behind complexity, which is perfect, because it's like, this is not the secret sauce. This is about daily action. The more complex you make something, the easier it is to get excited about it, talk about it, and even get started. But the harder it is to stick to it over the long haul. Complexity gives you excuses, ways out, and endless options for switching things up all the time, like new books. Oh, maybe it's this new book. You know what I mean? But complexity is procrastination's best friend. Simplicity, on the other hand, is different. You can't hide behind simplicity. You have to show up day in, day out, and pound the stone. Do the work, rest, progressively make it harder, tweak it as needed, repeat. Nothing complex about it. It is as simple and as hard as that. It is not easy to keep doing this, but honestly, it is just this life-changing practice. And when I work, I'm not working at like, what is the next greatest tip? It is about shifting our habits, shifting how we do the work. So this work is not soul depleting, but it actually it invigorates us, where we have more energy when we're doing it. We find joy in our work. And when we start learning to have joy in our work, not only are we captivating our creativity and our problem solving, we are never working. We are always able to play. So I have a story, a personal story to kind of bring this into action for all of us. In my garage, we have rats. We just discovered this. And when you think about rats in your garage, what do you think? Like, oh no, this is horrible, right? It's not horrible. It's awesome. It is divine rats coming into my life, because in our garage, my husband does contracting. That's not a space that's my space to play in, and I honor other people's space, but he has this beautiful creative mind. And so sometimes it's easier for some people to shift than others. I get that. But over time, it's kind of built up with construction stuff, art stuff, life stuff, and it was kind of building. Well, then we have rats, and he's letting me go ahead and play and shift the energy. As I'm shifting energy, not only am I able to shift and move things in a deep way, I'm moving section by section out of the garage, completely rebooting it, reducing as much as I can, and recreating the space. But as I'm doing, I'm really thankful for the rats, because they motivated you. It's a catalyst. It's a shift. It's making me be focused on that space to do a complete overhaul in our garage. It is not a bad thing. So sometimes you think it's a bad thing, but it's not. It's how you take it. So I'm out there, I've got a mask on, I've got gloves on. Speaking of that, anytime you are working in attics, basements, garages, anywhere you might have spiders or rats or rodents of any kind like that, you want to make sure you are doing personal protection, lots of ventilation. So you want to wear a mask, you want to wear gloves. If you might have insects, you want to put essential oils like peppermint and maybe tea tree oil around your ankles. You want to be very mindful of that, because rodent can kill you. There's stuff that can get into rodents that can literally kill you. So you be very mindful. But anyway, so I'm all masked up, and the garage is open. I'm working, and it's hard work. It's physical work, but I'm playing music, and I am as happy as if I would have been sitting under an Afghan reading a book. And that's what I'm talking about, that you go deep and you love cleaning out rat poop. Matter of fact, I had a rat poop drop down my shirt, and I had to shift it, and it popped out the other side. And I was like, oh, well, that was exciting. And Dallas goes, well, there's blessings, because I don't have big boobs, and so I wasn't wearing a bra. And he goes, well, aren't there advantages to everything? So what could have been just this really horrible thing really was hilarious. And I did not die from a rat poop popping down my shirt. I was like, it was kind of funny. And it was like, I got blessed by a rat turd. And I'm like, okay, I'll take my blessings however they come. So this is what I'm saying. It's not like all of us have to do it. We all are cleaning out. We all are shifting, but it's learning not to overthink it, but to start shifting your practices and be present and learn to be connected, and learn to, like, when you're creating space. Okay, so think about this. When you walk in your front door, do you place things? Like, if you have a handful of things, do you place them and mindfully take a few minutes to put your house back in order? Or do you dump? Do you just throw? Do you toss, right? So that is a mindfulness practice. That is a practice of becoming mindfulness and, like, realizing your home. And how are you greeting your home and your family? By dumping on them? I don't think so. So when you have things like a kitchen table and you have to clear it out, do you scoop it all and throw it in a bin, and then you have muddled energy to deal with? Or do you mindfully reshift it and reboot it? You know what I mean? It's this, are you unmindfully stuffing things, squishing things, popping things, piling things? Those are just practices of not giving yourself time and space to be mindful. And that's why this is a practice, because it's a practice of being mindful. It's a practice of love, of learning to love your life, and learning to love the piles and the messes and the rat poop and all the things that happen in the world. And then coming back. So for me, this is a journey. This is not a, I'll be happy when my house is clean. This is discovering how to be happy through the whole process and loving it, and then creating a space that when you walk into a space, you're like, and you have the value of the hard work that came with it. Because if somebody just put a magic wand and gave it to you, you would not have the nourishment that if you hadn't gone through the journey yourself and grew with it, you would never have that blessing. So by taking it as a journey one day at a time, you enrich your whole life. And if I had one wish for you, is if that after COVID and we can start having people come back into our homes, if you have a friend that calls up and said, would you mind if I pop over for a cup of tea? That instead of panicking and looking around your house and thinking and having this deer in headlights breaking into cold sweats of what they might think of you, instead of that, you're like, you look around and you're like, well, I'll be darned. Yeah, come on over. It's a complete transformation of your life, because otherwise they won't understand you're embarrassed about your house. They'll think you don't want to be friends with them. And that is what this does. It shifts it. It breaks the relationships and value. And this way you're like, come on over. And even if your house is messy, you get this love of like, our relationship, your value is more important than my messes. And that is where we're going with this. So hang in there with me. I know we still have a lot of work to do, but honestly, this is deep, deep work. I can't even explain the value of this on our spirits, on our minds, on our bodies, on being good stewards to the environment, to our homes, of reducing the waste and the exhaustion of our natural resources. All of this comes together with cleaning and creating space, because it's a microorganism of the environment, the world around us. So as we create spaces, as we become nourished, then we can go out in the world and do what we're supposed to do, because there's not one person in this group that isn't absolutely extraordinary and absolutely beautiful. And I don't care if your house is completely full or completely empty. This is a fact. And so by creating a nourishing space where you begin to believe this, then you can go out and do the work that you were created for, and you're not depleted by all these decisions you're making all the time of what to do with the mail and what to make for dinner. You're not depleting all of your energy, your natural resources, and then you have no energy to give yourself, your family, and the community. That's why we're simplifying, not to have empty houses and perfect houses. That is, I don't care a lick how perfect your house is. I care completely how much you feel and your family feels loved in that house. Okay, I will get off my soapbox. You can't see it, but there's a giant soapbox down here. So we're going to pop into our first session. And so the first session, the question is, what color do you always find joy in? And then the next question is, we have a little bit longer session today, but the next one is, what did you do last week that you were very proud of? And then, thank you. And the next one is one thing, one project you want to accomplish next week. It doesn't have to be big. I don't care if it's just when you walk in the front door, you take a deep breath. I don't care how tiny. Sometimes the tiniest of all practices are the ones we stay with. I don't care how small it is, but something you want to do next week that will feel good. So that I think Amanda's putting them in our things. And if you want to, pockets and pockets and pockets, and your house turns into multiple of tiny pockets that are thoughtfully created. So it's okay to start small. It's more of the consistency of like claiming sacred space. Any other big wins, or it doesn't matter if it was good, bad, or ugly. I mean,
I lost my mail key, so I don't have to worry about the mail for a couple days.
That's easier.
No, I had to order a new one, but I was going to say it wasn't my mail. I tackled my closet and shared in the group that the after photo. I didn't do the before photo because that's embarrassing, right? But I just wanted to say how it really does this like peaceful sense of like getting dressed in the morning, not having to like, where is this? Is it clean? The only problem now is I purged and got rid of a lot of clothes. So laundry, I really have to stay on top of that and make sure or I'm going to run out of pants. But We're mostly virtual, so that's not a big deal. You
So
don't know
you can be sparsely clothed and content.
exactly, but it made it clear for, okay, this doesn't fit. This needs to go away, or this is, I'm never going to wear this anymore. Let's put this away. So I did find I have 6 Skittle t-shirts, says Janet. So
I don't even need pants.
no, it's what I'm saying. I don't even need pants. I don't know if I'm wearing pants or
We just wear
not.
one pair of sweats the rest of our lives, and then we just have to buy tops.
Right. Definitely.
This is Jeanette. Yeah. One thing, like I've been since my life has changed. Yoga pants. I said that's funny. I've been cleaning other houses to make a little extra money because I'm kind of struggling. So, and some of the people are, I don't want to call them the H word. I'd say avid collectors of a lot of things. And I've kind of, helping them go through that journey of, I'm the one that's actually doing the work because they don't want to. And I try to include them and try to teach them like how important it is to be like, realize like you have all these things. Do you really want them? Do you really need them? It's like you're ordering more things and you're buying more things. And we haven't even opened these 500 boxes I haven't opened yet. And, we're going through, and it's just learning myself by watching them. And I don't judge in any way because everybody deals, everyone deals with grief and things in their own way. And I try to be present, and like, I'm going through a lot of stuff, and I notice when my house is a mess, it's because my mind is a mess, and back and forth. And so it's kind of realizing, okay, I'm hurting. I'm struggling. I need to really get this taken care of. So at least even if my mind is going wacko, my life around me isn't. So it's kind of a teaching myself while I'm teaching them. Because it's easier to do somebody else's things than your own, but still.
You're spot on. It is easier to help other people than it is to help ourselves. So by helping somebody else, we learn. I mean, my greatest lessons have come with my clients, that they are my best teachers. By far, my most strongest, beautiful teachers have come from the people I work with. And I think of when I work with somebody, it's like, I'm a teacher, I'm a student. They're a teacher, they're a student. It's a synergy. We work together. There's not a hierarchy of better or worse. It's not. We come together as a team and we work together. And that's why we're all together. The collective group is stronger than individuals. We are more powerful as a collective group to help each other. And sometimes we learn our best things by the things that show up. As a coach, that is like the first thing they said is the person you most need to learn from will show up in your chair. So listen, whoever it is. And so what I think of, I don't use the hoarding term because I think it's got very negative overall thoughts. What I think of it is gatherers, and there's levels of gathering. It's just
exactly. I don't judge. I think it's just your own way, your own, you're dealing with your own things. And I don't judge in any way. I think it's
perfect.
I think there was a part of the book in the reading this week too that was talking about how, intrinsically we have developed to gather, right? Not necessarily just women, but as humans, we've evolved to gather as survival, sticks, food, whatever it is. So there's a level of that.
And I love Margaret's, she shows that she's not perfect. She shows that I don't understand this. I don't know what to do with that. She shows that she's just a person trying to share her wisdom of what's helped her and to make other people's journey forward easier. I love this simple, and one of the reasons I really love this book, it's not like this is one size fits all. It's not. It's a journey. It's awareness of opening up conversations, of paving the way forward for yourself and the people you love, so that they can thrive. Okay, so I'm going to pop into the electronics because this is a really big, awesome topic that I love. So first things with electronics, and this comes to the healthy homes, is you do not want to go to bed with your cell phone right next to your head. Oh, that rhymed. I don't always do that. Okay, so everybody repeat. You do not want to go to bed with your cell phone by your head. Okay, that gave me probably more joy than it should have. I probably completely lost my train of thoughts, but you don't want those electronics by your bed. So the easiest way for me is I have a bathroom outside of my bedroom. I turn it on so my cell phone is getting charged at night, but it is not by there. But if there's an emergency, I can go get it. But that does a couple things, because I don't know if you all know this, but electronic social media, emails, Facebook, texting, all those things, they light up the exact same part of your brain as if you were in a casino playing slots. It's an addiction. It is specifically, it's this random reward we get. All of a sudden we see a happy goat, we get a good email, we had a happy text. It is random reward and is literally exactly like an addiction. It is an addiction, but it lights up the exact same part of the brain. So by putting your cell phone mindfully into the bathroom or in its own little timeout place, that gives us space to breathe. Otherwise, we will automatically be picking it up because it's a habit. And so this is one of the easiest ways to shift it, is give it a nighttime timeout. So for sleeping well, I recommend, giving yourself time to go to sleep, but taking that cell phone out, and like, if you're going to go to bed at 10, put it to bed at 10. And then in the morning, you actually wake up and live a little bit before you turn on that cell phone, because otherwise you just you just opened up the whole world. And so what we're trying to do is to become centered and grounded in our own essence before we bring in the clutter of the world, the clutter of social media. So even if it's a half an hour in the morning, make it a practice of, sometimes I'll do yoga and I'll take my cell phone with me, but I set my timer and I turn it over. So it's being mindful about not checking emails, checking social media until you've got a chance to set the tone for the day. So, if that's the only thing you do to change things, is give yourself time away from electronics every night, that's huge.
That is literally the hardest thing you have said all for this.
I know it. Literally, because it is so automatic. But if you want to calm your nervous system down and not be overwhelmed by news and what's going on, and be able to have a centered life, that is one of the most powerful. Plus, you do not want to go to sleep with your electronics by your head. You don't want that electromagnetic field around your head while you're sleeping. So this is a multi-level benefit to all of us, to just start giving ourselves space to sleep and get those cell phones. Another thing is, if you're working and you have your cell phone with it, shut off the tuner or the where, so you can't hear it. And you need to turn it over where you're working, and even cover it up with a napkin or something, because if you see it, you're going to grab it. So cover it up, put it out of place, set your timer, do your work. But that is like one of the biggest distractions that's going to keep you guys, electronics, keep all of us from doing the work we're meant to, is our TVs on, our social media, our computers on, our cell phones going. If you want to do good, nourishing work in your home, all those things need to be on pause because you want to be present, 100% present. You want to come not at 20%, but at 100%. And it gives yourself breathing space, so your brain is not always in this mind chatter of the world coming in. And if you've been doing Zoom after Zoom, take pauses in between Zooms and shut off electronics. Go for a walk outside. It's pauses within the day of unelectronically. Then the next thing about electronics is, I know we get bombarded with a lot of input. And think about your emails and social media like mail. It's exactly like mail. We get so much daily mail coming in. And so, of course, it's always a big thing to downsize as much as possible, unsubscribe to things, be very mindful of things you do subscribe to. You may have a couple voices you really love to hear, but maybe minimize it to maybe like 5 newsletters of really great voices you want to hear. Be mindful of your time and energy. So daily, minimize that, but then, a couple times a day, not every 10 minutes, but a couple times a day, pop in and just delete. It's just no different than grabbing your physical mail and going to the recycling bin and getting it out. Don't give it any time, no energy. And then you may have a couple things. You may give yourself a few minutes to actually follow up. You may have a couple things you want to do. That would be like paying a bill or corresponding. It's the same thing. If it takes like a minute or less, then maybe go ahead and do it in that time. Otherwise, give yourself another little pocket to actually correspond or handle things that need to be handled. But on your downsizing, don't spend a lot of time getting lost in the details. You know what I mean? So just downsize. And then if there's categories that you want to pay attention, like sorting mail, you have the bill category, your inbox kind of thing. So in the same thing, you want to give yourself folders of like, you may have, like for me, I have a couple things. I have like important documents folder. So when I get something from a government thing or something that's really important, I put it in there so I don't have to worry. And it's called an archive. It's my archive of important things. I also have, like, if I get pictures from family, I have a family one. And then I have some different business ones I do. I do have a place I collect education and I collect inspired ideas. I do a lot of teaching and writing. So I am cultivating some of these ideas with me, but I have 2 spaces I put them, and I don't put them anywhere else. You know what I mean? And you will probably have different categories, but give yourself a couple folders. And then if you have found that you have a big backlog of emails and you'd really like to actually clean out your emails, the best advice I could give you is go backwards. So in your most emails, I know Yahoo, you can go up there and in top right-hand corner of your email box, it'll give you like dots. You can sort from oldest to newest. Go from oldest to newest, because what you did 5 years ago is not going to be as important as what you do now. And so you can clear out very quickly going backwards to forwards instead of trying to do, because when you first get emails, they're so excited and you're more interested in the stuff you got this week and today. You're not very interested. You already know you haven't looked at it in 5 years. So go ahead and clean out that old stuff. And then even in, instead of like doing social media and Facebook one night, maybe take a few minutes and like go through your email from the week and clean out. And then actually at the end of the month, clean out. So you're consistently doing daily maintenance. It's like wiping your shower down. It's all about prevention so it doesn't build. But then you have a bigger project of kind of going back to forward and cleaning that. That's more of a bigger project. But don't give yourself, don't make this like a 5-hour thing. Make it like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, because it's very it's tiny, it's small, it's compact. Just make it a practice of like, I just pop in, I have maybe even set your timer. Tuesdays at 5 o'clock, your timer goes off. Oh, don't forget to do your mail. And then just do a quick sort. Does that make sense? Does that help? Any other thoughts on that before we put any other?
I had to look up how to do categories in Gmail. But I think I found helpful YouTube videos or something like that for zero inbox stuff, which is that's hilarious. But also just that how to set filters and how to utilize those different mediums really effectively. Nice. I just spent like an hour one day trying to do that, and I would recommend it for anybody that works, with email, which is like everybody now. So it just helps.
Amanda, do you have that resource? Can you post it in our group?
Yeah.
I love that. Or if we ever get a class down the road on just how to do that, I am like really struggling with that. I would love anything like that.
Yeah. And it's kind of like our daily cooking and our daily cleaning. By learning some of these skills up front, then they don't carry on. But more than anything, it is chop wood, carry water. It is consistently going in and cleaning out and being mindful of and honest with yourself. Am I actually really going to do anything with this? Am I actually going to, it's being more and more and more honest with yourself, asking those questions. Am I really going to look at this? Do I really need to do it? Is this a voice I really want to have in my head? And then, the zero inbox, I think that it works for some people. For other people, it becomes so much energy to try to zero out all the time that it becomes exhaustion. So it just go with what works, but it's that consistently reducing, downsizing, simplifying, getting rid of.
This is Jeanette. What I like to do is make folders. And so what I do is like, I'll put like, sometimes you go to the store and I usually get the emailed receipt because then I don't have to look for paper and it's in there. But as soon as I get that receipt, before I even do anything else, because you're usually in mine, you're getting it, boom. Before I walk out, I'll just grab it, throw it in that receipt pile in the folder of my email. Yeah. And that way, when I go to return something, I just open that file and I can just look for what it is I'm looking for, and it'll come up, the store or whatever. You can get as far as like going each store separately, but it's so much easier just receipts in one thing, and then personal in another, and then just kind of make categories like possible junk, something that when you do have that extra time, you can go through and look. It'll be a quick little, did I really want this? Are these coupons something I'm actually going to use? No, I'm not. And if you hang on to them, you look, they expired, you delete them pretty quick. So if you have these folders that are, like a VIP, like really important, urgent stuff, or documents, like I said, each one has its own little category, very general, like I said, receipts, documents, family or personal, and then, possible junk. And that way you have a minute, you go straight to that one, and they're already there for you quickly to go through and delete or not. So yeah.
And what you were saying is absolutely right. But, and everybody has different categories. I love that. I have one just very much like that. I call it confirmations. So anytime I have a confirmation of something, I just throw it in my confirmation stuff. I will say that a few years ago, I got hacked and all of my emails were lost, but nothing in my folders were lost. So that was really a big message for me. So it's no different than in your house. Think about what categories you actually use. It's being mindful of what actually emails that's important. So think about what your personal categories. But again, think simplicity. Do not overanalyze your folders. Don't make it complex. Make it like, maybe think about what are my top 7 folders and keep it as simple as you can. If you maybe have one for correspondence or something, don't go like my right side of my family, my left side of my family. You know what I mean? Keep it simple here, because otherwise you're going to make this complex system and it becomes its own job.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Very simple, very general. Like I said, receipts, documents, family and friends, possible junk. That's basically all I have. I don't like to have too much, because then you're also overwhelmed with trying to find what group it's in.
Absolutely. So keep it simple. It's that consistent rhythm. And like everything, if you want to do something, give it a home, give it a place where it feels comfortable. Like at the end of the day, when you sit down on TV, give yourself 5 minutes to clean out your emails or something like that. But give it a space, either in time. Usually time space is the easiest. Sometime during the day where you just pop in for 5-10 minutes, clean up, set your timer, make it simple, but give it a home, because if it doesn't have a place to live, it won't go anywhere. And everything feels better in a home. Last week we talked about, that we get decision fatigue. And when we hit decision fatigue, we literally kind of shut down. We physically are not as strong. So all of these things are minimizing that decision fatigue. So you have the energy to do what's really important in your life. And I don't want your email to become your life. This is about keep it simple.
Usually around dinner time when decision fatigue is like, nope, I don't care what we have for dinner. Cereal, done.
Yeah, and it's literally a thing. We have decision fatigue, which means at the end of the day, when you're with family time, you don't have the energy to have any conversations. You're like overboard with Goldie Hawn. If you haven't seen that, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, no, I get it. The good time is like during a commercial. If you're watching a movie or something or a show, you just during a commercial pop in a couple minutes. You're limited. Once that commercial's over, you're like done. Okay, I'm watching my show and whatever. Waiting for a doctor's appointment gives you a good time to quickly go in. You're waiting there, sitting there, instead of jumping on Facebook and telling everybody your life story that you're at the doctor's and you're nervous. Go through that email. It's quick, boom, boom, boom. They call you and you just forget about it. Keep going. I like to do it in little spaces in that. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, this is something, the one thing you want to be mindful is you're not popping in all the time, because remember, it's an addictive thing. So you want to be mindful in the space you put it in, so you're not just consistently checking the weather. Is it still raining? Is it still raining? Is it still raining? Okay, so let's see. Oh, so in Margareta, she had a couple really good things about photographs. I liked how she talked about photographs. So if you got a chance to read that, that was really good about, with your photographs, separating by family, by categories. Did anybody else have anything from Margareta this week you want to share before we go?
I had a total favorite part.
Yeah.
And it was something that I'm probably going to integrate into some parts of my work, but I think it really speaks about what I talk about a lot, is this conscious consumerism. So she was talking about gardening, and when I think of everything that grows, when I think of everything that we shred, tear, and break to pieces and even bury to get rid of, it is a good thing that all that junk does not come back bigger and stronger the next year, the way that some plants and weeds do. But I think it's really important, because I talk about this all the time. It does. We don't realize how those things not necessarily are going to affect us in 10 years. Yeah, it's gone, it's out of your life, the recycle bin's carried away. But how does that affect generationally? You want to leave a better world for your kids and grandkids. What you do, every decision you make, it's it can be overwhelming to think that way, but it impacts that. How those how we foster these ideas like planned obsolescence in objects, or improper disposal of items, and even things like illegal dumping. I think illegal dumping should be like a felony. I don't know if it is, actually. I have no idea. But I think it should be like one of the highest crimes, because you have just a complete abandon for not just that space and time, but the effect that those things have on people, because it really does carry over into so many other ways. But anyway, sorry, that was my
you're absolutely right. When we take care of our homes, we become good stewards to the environment and the world around us. It is really about that. We don't realize the impact our decisions have on how it gets carried away. And if you ever go hang out at the landfills and see the trailer after trailer after trailer of things that are just going to be thrown away, that will give you good reason to start being mindful of the stuff you bring in and how we use it and how we simplify. Simplifying is probably one of the most environmentally friendly things we can do, is just simplify our lives, reducing, finding creative ways of reusing things. It's bigger than us. It's generational, and it's very present and heartfelt to be able to put our energy to what's important and not have all of our energy consumed in taking care of our homes.
Yeah, and I think, just that idea, holding that in our minds when we're doing things like this, like how I explained, like the closet. I didn't expect it to be as fulfilling as it was. And, just having that satisfaction every time I open it now to say I did this. Yeah, I'm going to probably have to do it again in like a couple of years or something, but it makes the other things simpler. So I look forward to doing this, and I'm having these conversations with my husband, because we are collectors of things. So
but it's huge. I mean, it's a huge thing. I just had a thing about reminder for homework next week. So I have a bit of fun homework for you besides. Okay, so I want you to think about mindfully, when you enter your home, how do you show up in your home? Are you dumping, stacking, throwing, tossing, squishing, splopping? Or are you arriving thoughtfully? Do you give yourself a minute to put everything away? And so that one is just kind of a mindful thing. Pick one thing and complete the project. I don't care how small it is, but completion is huge, to feel like you've completed something. So it's okay to be small. And even if you're thinking about email cleaning out, think about like maybe the year 2010, clean out the whole year, or clean out 1 month, think specific. The other thing is, I recommend, if you have extra time, is to give yourself a song. Some of my favorites are Rise Up. Have you heard the song Rise Up? And so when you're struggling about how to go for the next day, give yourself a motivating song of your why, of your own uncluttering mantra song of and I love John Legend's, All of Me, that song. There's so many good. There's Bob Marley, Three Little Birds, Don't Worry. I mean, so think of a song, because when you're having a hard time, maybe you want to start singing your song of this is my song. And when you're struggling, this is my song, you know, have fun with this. This isn't, if the more fun we have, the better our brains work.
Not Witchy Woman from Seinfeld.
Witchy Woman, I don't care what it is.
Is anybody Seinfeld?
Isn't there a song that says, "This is my life song"?
Yeah,
but there's one there.
Exactly. Yeah, so this is a challenge, a group challenge is post the song you want on the group. So songs, you know, bring music into our life, bring some joy into this.
This is my fight song. Yes, that's the one.
This is my fight song. Angels Among Us. Okay, so last thought before I leave. First of all, absolutely, thank you guys. I am creating another series coming up, so hopefully we'll be able to continue if you'd like. So hopefully, you know, we want to keep going. So I might send individually a survey. We'll see if I can get that done this week, and then also before we go, just keep reminding yourself this is a practice of love of yourself. I don't care how you show up. You are extraordinary and absolutely perfect. So this is a practice of love, of seeing love for yourself, for your home, for your family, for the environment. It is absolutely a practice of love. It is not, it has nothing to do with the stuff. It's about being present and having love and having a really good song to go with it.